Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Feel It, Teal It podcast. Or if you're watching this on Instagram, welcome back to Morning Tea Live. I am so excited for today's episode. We're going to be talking about how to stop self-sabotaging. This has been just such an important topic this week for me personally, but also realizing how incessant self-sabotage is on just the subtle, sneaky day-to-day moments. And so we're going to be diving in on how you can catch it before you sabotage something. And yeah, how you can take your power back. So before we dive in, can we just take a moment to acknowledge that I cannot wear this, for those that are watching on YouTube or Instagram, I can't wear this Mean Girls We Wear Pink on Wednesday shirt if it's not Wednesday. Like, I just can't do it. And so now I only wear it on Wednesdays. And so it's just going to look like I'm wearing the same outfit every time I record for the pod and for Instagram. And it is what it is. We're just gonna have a new Morning Tea Live uniform, which is this Mean Girls shirt. So yeah. I'm also drinking hot cocoa, bone broth hot cocoa, which at first I was skeptical about, and then I saw this recipe from one of these health coaches I follow, and it's actually really good. Like, it literally just tastes like hot chocolate, except it has zero sugar and has so much protein. And I'm just kind of obsessed with it. Yeah, it's so good. So anyway, go grab some tea, grab a journal, notebook. You'll definitely want to take notes on this. And what else do I have to tell you? Oh, I was sharing with the people on Instagram before I started recording this for the pod that I got a rough night of sleep last night because my dogs kept having to go out. Some nights they do that. Like, other nights they can just make it through the night. It's literally like a baby. I know people get mad when I compare my dogs to babies. I know it's not the same, but just the way that as humans, sometimes we can sleep through the night. Sometimes my dogs can, and other times they can't. And then my other cat has been missing. So my main cat, Luna, you guys know Luna, she's always here. So now she's in the other room. She was just like doing zoomies because she's so happy to have her apartment back. I think maybe the other cat got eaten by a coyote. I'm not sure. That was the one that I was fostering, who used to be the family cat, and then she was my ex's cat. And she's had many different homes, so I'm not really as attached to her. Obviously, I hope she's okay, but I also am kind of relieved to have my apartment back with one less animal. But we're hoping she's just on an adventure and then she'll come back when she's ready. In the meantime, Luna's doing zoomies in the middle of the night and scratching at my door. And then I had my first nightmare that I've had in a while. And that's what I was saying. Before doing this work, I used to have nightmares all the time, like almost every night. And that is a sign that my nervous system was in survival mode. And so last night I had one, I was like, whoa, this is so weird. I haven't had one in a while. And I actually felt really, yeah, I moved through a lot of fear yesterday. So I was kind of on the other side of it. So I was actually surprised that I had that. But I was reflecting this morning. I was like, I can't believe that used to be my norm. Like, before doing this work, there are things that were just normalized that were not actually normal. Like, that's not normal to be having nightmares every single night. Like, what? How am I supposed to get good sleep? How is anyone supposed to get good sleep if they have nightmares every night? Like, no. So it just made me so grateful. I mean, every day I'm so grateful I found this work, but like, especially in moments like last night when I have this nightmare and I'm like, okay, like, I wake up from it. My heart's pounding. I'm like, come back to safety. I'm in my room. I'm safe. Everything's okay. And then I go back to sleep and it was no big deal. And then I woke up and I was like, I can't believe I used to do that every night. Except when I would wake up from it, I would have a hard time going back to sleep. It wouldn't just be like this quick, I'm safe to go back to sleep thing. It was just like, yeah, it really affected my sleep. So I'm just so grateful. Like, this work literally makes you reflect on things where you think something's normal and you're like, how did I live that way? How did I live that way? Whereas now the nightmares are like literally once in a blue moon. And when they happen, it's usually like, okay, my body and my brain is processing more fear, which is good to like move it through. But most of my dreams are just like present day stuff. Um, but yeah, last night, aside from the nightmares are always me running like from a man. So it's like healing my man trauma. It's always running. And I I don't even really have man trauma. I think the trauma was that because my dad has been a therapist and a social worker his whole life. My parents met in social work school. I went to social work school, runs in the family. My brother's a school psychologist. My sister was the one that went off the beaten path and did graphic design and now works for Penguin. So very cool. Hey, bro, good morning. So, um, what was I saying? Oh, he instilled this fear because he had worked with so many clients who had had all this trauma that he instilled so much fear trying to protect me, right? Like, be careful of the men. But I think it had the opposite effect because then I just had nightmares around men chasing me. So that's what it always is. It was like me running from a man and like locking doors. And then the other one was with my clients where it was almost like pandemic, but it wasn't necessarily COVID. It was like we were all in this room and we all knew we were about to die together. And I would like send my clients messages of like how much I love them. And yeah, and then there was like this note that said my wife died at this time and I was the wife, but I didn't see a husband there. It's very, very strange. But anyway, the whole point is like there were some dark dreams, just me, my clients dying, running away from men, like just craziness. And the point is like anything that is your norm. The whole reason I'm sharing this is anything that is your norm that you do not want to be your norm. So for me, it was nightmares and anxiety and other things. It does not have to be your norm anymore. Like we accept these things as norms. Like, oh yeah, this is just me. I'm just someone that has anxiety or nightmares or whatever it is. And it's like, that doesn't have to be your norm. You literally get to heal the root of whatever that symptom is, whether it's overthinking, anxiety, binge eating, binge watching TV, ruminating thoughts, depression, like ADHD, like whatever it is, you have the power to heal it. How cool is that? We run around. This is like totally off topic, but it's all related. So whatever. I just need to ramble a little bit and then I'll go into the topic. We run around going to all these different doctors, all these different healers, all these different places, like outside of ourselves, like boop, 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 boop. We're like squirrels, like, boop, and we don't realize that we have the power to heal. Like, how fucking cool is that? We don't have to spend thousands of dollars. We don't like, yes, you can invest in healing. I've spent many thousands of dollars in my healing. But once you learn how to heal, like you become your own self healer. It's just the coolest thing in the world. You get to become your own emotional detective where you're like, oh, this is showing up. Okay, let me get curious around it. Let me get to the root of it. Okay, I can feel it and move through it. And then you shift it. Like it gets to be that simple. We overcomplicate it. We run and we are handed pills as if they're candy. Not that candy's great for you either, but like it would be better than all the pills that we're taking. It's like, but that's not even necessary. So healing is just, it gets to be so simple. And it is one of the hardest things you'll ever do. And that's the dialect of it, right? It's like, it's not supposed to be easy, but when you actually understand how it works and you understand your nervous system and you understand how to work with your nervous system rather than your nervous system taking over, life changes and your norm is not your norm anymore. And it's just the coolest feeling on earth. Like, I cannot believe that that used to be my norm. Like feeling scared every night, having nightmares every night, waking up anxious every day. Like, I can't believe that used to be my norm. And yet it was. And now it's not. And apply that to any symptom, physical symptom, emotional symptom, spiritual symptom, mental symptom, financial symptom. You don't want to be in debt anymore. You can change that. Like you literally get to create your life. And I know if you're listening to this and you've not done this healing work yet, it might sound a little like out there, woo woo, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, but I am living proof. I am living proof that I now just know how to move through things. It doesn't mean that pain doesn't come up. It doesn't mean that fear doesn't come up. It doesn't mean that shame doesn't come up. It doesn't mean that any of that doesn't come up. What I'm about to share with you today is a perfect example of how that shit still comes up. It's that you know how to relate to it differently. And that takes your power back. That gives you your power back. So you can stop outsourcing it and running around like an activated 2-year-old, that's just not serving you. All right, so let's tie that into today's topic so we don't go on forever and ever. So how to self-sabotaging. So let me give you the 411 on what happened this week. So as you guys know, from like January, February to about June, maybe like April, May, June. April was like the beginning of the end of it. I went through a really, really dark night of the soul, like one of the darkest nights of the soul that I've ever been through in all areas, personally, business-wise, financially, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Like I had a spiritual awakening. Like I went through some dark shit. So anyway, I now am in August, in the present moment, and August has been the most incredibly abundant, transformative growth month that I've had in all of 2024. It went from like boo to like boo. And my nervous system, although consciously I really want all the things that are happening, I really want the abundance, I want the new clients, I want my programs to be sold out, I want to shed the excess weight, I want to wake up feeling connected to myself, I want all of those things. But because my nervous system has, and all of ours, has deep, deep wiring of going back to the old ways of safety, which for me were nightmares, anxiety, overthinking, seeking external saving in men, in dating, in food, in validation, in anything outside of myself, staying busy, running away from myself, avoiding getting still with myself. So anytime those symptoms start to show up, they are symptoms. They are not normal ways of being. Those are symptoms. So if every night you're binge watching TV and you're like, oh, this is normal because we've normalized in society, that is a symptom. I saw a huge influencer last night post a thing on her story saying, does anyone have binge-worthy TV shows? And she's posting all these responses. And I'm like, this is what's fucking wrong with our society. We think that that's normal to binge watch a show before sleep. Like, oh, I can't sleep unless I watch a TV show to unwind. It's not unwinding. And I used to be the same way. I don't judge it. I used to be it. So I get it. But we have it all wrong. We have it all backwards. So anyway, I go on and on about TV. But the point is that when these symptoms start to show up after you've done the work to release them. So if you're listening to this and you have no idea what I'm talking about and you have not released anything because you don't even know there's something to release, you may not fully get this part of it, and that's okay. Just stay with me. Because I have done the work to heal my nervous system and release those symptoms, when those symptoms then come back, it is my body communicating to me that there is fear that I'm running away from. So what happened was I was on this trajectory and I was building this momentum. My program sold out. I got a one-on-one client. What else happened? Just like I made some new friends. Like I've been in like a deep, deep alone period. So the universe was communicating that I'm ready to have people in my life again. But what happened was I went from like zero, like fully alone, had shedded all these people, all these ways of relating, all these ways of being. Like I was in a deep shedding process, and it was just me, myself, and I, and then, some other support people that I had, to then all of this abundance and alignment coming in at once. Money, business, friendships, aligned opportunities, like it was all flooding in at once. And it was magical. It was everything I'd ever wanted, right? It was everything that I've been waiting for, not waiting, but manifesting to happen during this alone period. But then it went from like 0 to 100, where my nervous system got a little like, woo, this is happening really quickly. And because I've been in long-term mentorship with my coach for 3 years, she knows my nervous system so well. And this is the same with my clients who I've been working with for years. I get to know their unique defenses, their unique trauma responses, their unique protectors. Like, yes, we all have similar ones, but it shows up in very specific ways. Like for my avoidant client, it will show up a little bit differently than my anxiously attached client. with, my client who has BPD symptoms, that shows up different than my client who has severe ADHD. Like, I get to know each person's unique wiring and unique defenses for how their trauma shows up. It's the same thing with my mentor. She knows very intimately my specific nervous system. So she knows that my nervous system has this pattern where I will build momentum and things are happening and things are magical and things are abundant and expansive and I'm growing and I'm growing and I'm growing. And my nervous system always finds a way to self-sabotage it. So I'll get a big chunk of money and then I'll sabotage it. I'll spend it all. Like, I don't feel safe to hold it. And so every time this cycle has happened, we've done work together around how can I relate differently next time. So then the next time comes around, because it's never too late. Nothing's irreplaceable or irreversible. Like, there's always another opportunity to learn. It's really just getting honest with yourself. How often, how many more times do I want to have to go to the same lesson to learn the damn lesson so that I can then get to my next level of expansion? It's literally a video game. Life is a video game. If you didn't know, welcome to reality. Life is a video game where you play the same level until you pass and get to the next level. That is literally how the universe works as our parent. The universe is the best parent we will ever have, like better than our actual parents, because the universe is God and, our parents are a creation of God, but they're not God. They're human. So this is how it works, is you will have to go through the same lesson. So I'm like, okay, don't want to have to go through that same lesson. So this next time that I got this big chunk of money, I was like, I am going to hold it. I'm going to practice holding it. But because I also have the tendency to go to black and white thinking, I went to the other extreme where, like, I wasn't spending any money. I wasn't ordering like the vitamins that I was needing. I was just like hoarding. That's also a trauma response. So then I got to this middle ground where I was very intentionally, putting some here, putting some here, putting some here, and it was feeling really good. And then it got to a point where then I kind of went to the other extreme again, where I was just ordering like all the supplements I was behind on. Like, I wasn't slowing down. I was kind of just going from 0 to 100. So that was the first sign. The second sign was, I think it started Friday. Yeah, Friday. I had Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday all open on my calendar to just work on my book. And although I'm very grateful for that space, my nervous system was feeling a little bit unanchored, a little bit all over the place, like so much open space, so much time up to me to be the leader to manage that. And there was definitely fear coming up around my book, around just all this beautiful momentum coming up. And I found myself going outside of myself, which is always my biggest sign, like distracting away. Like, I would sit down to write my book and then I downloaded Hinge. Why am I downloading Hinge? I have no desire or intention to start dating right now. I'm not in a place to start dating right now. But it was a distraction. It was a distraction away from myself. The other part of this was that I made friends with a neighbor, and because I have a little PTSD from my last neighbor situation, cute neighbor, for those that know the story, who helped me birth Come Home to Yourself group, I was having a lot of fear come up of like, what is this? And I fully felt that it was just a friendship. It wasn't more than that, but I got the feeling from him that maybe he wants it to be more than that. Who knows? But that's just the vibe I get. And so I was having some fear of like, see, this is why I can't let people in. Da da da. I was getting very like guarded. And then when that fear took over, I then used the attention that he was giving me as a way to distract myself. Then I hung out with him, and it wasn't it was just like a friendly hangout. I did, an inner child meditation. Like, it was very sweet. There was nothing wrong with the hangout. It was fine. But the whole point was that I was reaching outside of myself to get that attention, to get that distraction, to get just temporary dopamine, right? And so I'm like, okay, what's happening? Like, I could feel that I went from really grounded last week, like all of last week, I was so grounded. And then this weekend, I was like, I'm not feeling connected to myself. And the thing is that there's a difference between self-connection and grounded. So I was talking about this with my mentor yesterday. We're not going to feel grounded all the time. We're human. We're not going to feel grounded all the time. That's okay. However, when I get disconnected from myself, that means I'm not actually feeling the fear that's showing up in my body. I'm disconnecting from that. When we avoid our fear, we are avoiding ourselves. When we avoid our shame, we are avoiding ourselves. When we avoid joy and celebration, we are avoiding ourselves. And yes, you may actually be avoiding joy because it doesn't feel safe. So we can avoid any emotion inside of our body and we're disconnected from ourselves. That's different than being grounded. Grounded for me means I'm not actively experiencing fear in my body and I feel really grounded. I feel really safe. I feel really calm. That's what grounded means to me. Self-connected means that I may not be feeling grounded. I may have fear in my body, but I'm connected to that fear. I'm allowing myself to be with that fear, to sit with that fear, to get curious around that fear. Now, another one of my protectors has always been the need to know and this like over analyzing. So for me, when I'm getting curious around an emotion and I'm in that dysregulated fear state, I can so easily get caught in this over analyzing. So then it feels easier to, this is why healing is a fucking art form. Like I am an artist in the healing world because it is an art form. It's this balance, this dance, this like walking the line of getting curious around the emotion, but not getting sucked into over analyzing the emotion, right? Being with the emotion without needing to be perfectionistic around how you're being with the emotion. Like we can get so caught up in all of it. And my homework for my mentor was just the mantra of like, let it be, let it be, let it be. There's no need to overanalyze, breathe and let it be. And this is the thing. And I really want you to hear this because this is so important. Before sitting with the fear and actually feeling it in my body, I was over analyzing. I was thinking about it. I'm trying to figure out, why do I feel this way? Why am I feeling fear? Everything's fine. Why am I blah, 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 blah? And my head is noisy. As soon as I sat down yesterday morning, because the day before in yoga, I was in yoga with my mentor and one of the girls in our healing group, my friend, and we were we were talking about some of the messages that I put in our Slack group around like, oh, I met this friend and I met this other friend and we're gonna go dancing on Friday and we're gonna go to this gay bar and da 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 da. And my mentor is like, remember the other week when all this momentum was happening and I told you stay grounded? This is why, because your pattern is to go from 0 to 100 and sometimes it'll present as excitement, but underneath it, it's fear. So it's very sneaky with me. Or if I'm actually excited, I can then get caught up in the excitement. So that's why I wrote in my mirror, regulated excitement, 0 to 100 with a big X, like just staying connected to me and not going off the rails and getting caught up with other people's energy, because as an anxiously attached former person, that can easily come up for me where I just disconnect from myself. And so my work is always, 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 always to stay connected to myself. And that's why secure attachment is not actually about attachment. It's about deep self-connection. It's not actually about attachment. The reason why I still call it secure attachment, the way I think about it and the way I teach it now, is that it's your inner child securely attaching to you as their anchor of safety. But in terms of you attaching to other people, we don't want to be attaching to other people. We want to be connected to ourselves and connected to others. Connection is very different than attachment. Connection is, I'm connected to you, but I'm not relying on you for safety. So when I say build secure attachment, I'm talking about within your own self, the younger part of you who does need an attachment figure to attach onto you, adult you, as their anchor of safety. That's secure attachment. But as our adult selves, we don't need, like, we're supposed to be moving towards non-attachment. That is actually being connected to our full highest spiritual self. So anyway, because of those Slack messages in yoga, my mentor is like, please stay connected. I feel yourself getting a little bit ungrounded. And I was like, yeah, I could definitely feel that this week. And my brain was coming up with all these excuses like, oh, I'm just in ovulation phase and my body wants to make a baby. And so I'm grasping for men. I've been in ovulation phase every other month and I'm not grasping for men. So the fact that I was getting graspy for men and unhinged and talking to all these men, that was a sign. That was not actually my normal way of relating to my ovulation. Or yeah, making plans to go out. I'm not in a place where I'm not in a place where I want to go out because I need to be focusing. I'm birthing out this book. I am building my business. Like I'm not at a point where I can just be like la di da di da with my time and energy. I have to be so focused, which I know sounds like rigid and restricting, but if you truly want to create an expansive life, there are going to be periods in your life where you have to be in a little bit of a cocoon and you have to focus and you have to hunker down and focus. Like that is the only way because we can get so distracted. So I confessed to all of these things. I was like, yeah, I paid $100 to, you guys are getting all my confessions. I subscribed for 6 months of Hinge because on Hinge, you can say your height preference and your race preference. You can say all your preferences. Do they have kids? Do they smoke? Do they not? The free version of Hinge, you can't do that. And so for those that know, I'm 6 feet. I love tall men. I've dated shorter men before, just doesn't do anything for me. To my exes who come on my morning tea live, love you. But yeah, I need tall. So like 6'7" is like my ideal height. So anyway, I was like, oh my God, Stanita, you found it. Where was that, honey? I've been looking for Sky's ball thing like literally all yesterday. And Stelita has it. Where did you find that, mamas? You found it. That's a good girl. Wow. Must have been hidden somewhere. Anyway, so the whole point is like I then paid it, but the universe protected me because I'm pretty sure that the card that was attached to the account, because I haven't had Hinge in like since match number 4, which was we ended in February. So since then, but even before then, I'd gotten off of it when I was seeing him. Throwback to match number 4. Yeah, what a wild ride. Anyway, so uh so the card got declined. The card, it was an old card that was attached and it got declined. Although when I go on it now, it still lets me do the height preference, but I'm pretty sure it was declined. So the universe had my back and was like, no, you're not spending $100 on this distraction that you're not in a place to be doing. I will know when I'm ready to start dating again. And it will be coming from a grounded energy of desire and overflow rather than avoiding. So yesterday morning, I had to get really still with myself and like, okay, why am I avoiding? Because this is how my nervous system works. I have beautiful momentum and then my nervous system wants to self-sabotage. I started self-sabotaging by really being unintentional with my time and energy this past weekend, but I didn't fully self-sabotage like I used to, where I would just like spend way too much money or go on dates that were not aligned or spend time with people that are not aligned or call exes to come over like I used to do. I literally texted one of my exes and I was like, no, focus. And that was another one of my confessions. And my mentor was like, I have to fucking put a muzzle on you. We have to get a leash for you. Like we were all dying laughing in yoga because I was because I was like, yeah, I texted him and she was like, fuck off. Sometimes you need to be told to fuck off because you're just doing dumb shit. So that's why I wrote on my mirror, don't do dumb shit. Do you guys love how I literally tell you all my confessions? Like there's nothing that is like hidden. I give it all to you because I want to show you that I am not exempt from doing this. Like I am not above doing these things that I teach you to do. The reason why I'm brilliant at guiding my clients and teaching you how to do it is because I know these things so well. I know every time when my nervous system is like, oh, we're going to go repeat the same loop again. And having that mirror, having my mentor reflect back to me, this is your cycle and you're at the point where you're trying to self-sabotage it. And I did not even know it. I knew I was ungrounded, but I didn't know that it was self-sabotaging. I couldn't figure out why I was feeling ungrounded. And I was like, oh, that makes sense because this is the point in the cycle where I then self-sabotage. And the difference is because I've been through this cycle so many times, and because with long-term mentorship, again, you know the nervous system so intimately, you have that mirror, we get to catch it so quickly and relate differently. So what did I do? I canceled my plans. I said to my neighbor, I can't go out to the gay bar on, or I think it was a lesbian bar on Friday with you. Can't do that. I need to stay home and focus. I have 3 weeks before I'm submitting my book to my editor before my trip because I'm going to my cousin's wedding in Cape Cod. And yeah, the universe also had my back because the guy that I was talking to on Hinge, I had stopped responding, but it only had been, oh my God, like talk about God protecting you. It had only been, I think, a day where I hadn't responded because I was deciding, am I going to keep talking to him or am I just going to delete the app? Like, and literally I go back to respond and just let him know, like, I'm, whatever, just kind of wrap up the conversation. And he fucking unmatched me because, and I'm pretty sure it was because he had asked me, like, how's your day going? And I hadn't responded. And people in now, this day and age expect a response like this. And if you don't respond, it's like, oh, they're not interested. So I was like, thank you, God. Thank you, God, for having this person show me that this is how they relate. I am not interested in that. And the one guy that I actually was really interested in meeting, he hadn't responded yet because the universe knows I'm not ready. And I gave him my number. So now it's like I can delete the app. And then when if I meant to meet this person, they already have my number. So all to say that the universe always has your back. Even when you do dumb shit, the universe will quickly put you in your place and be like, stop doing dumb shit and will protect you. And it's so beautiful and so powerful to recognize that because so often we attach on to these mistakes as like irreversible or, now I ruined everything. And it's like, it doesn't have to be that big. It can truly just be this moment of, oh, my nervous system was trying to self-sabotage. We caught it early. Yes, I did some dumb shit, but I definitely didn't do the type of dumb shit I used to do when I would self-sabotage. So we're making progress with each cycle so that next time this happens, I can catch it even earlier, which means I won't self-sabotage at all. And I will continue to show myself and my nervous system that I'm safe to expand. So this is the thing. It's like the reel that I did yesterday. No matter what you want consciously, no matter how badly your heart desires something, if you do not feel safe to receive it, your nervous system will reject it. The money, the partner, the business, the growth, the relating differently, whatever it is. I've had to practice this with money. I've had to practice this with, just relationships. I've had to practice this with friendships. I've had to practice this with my own way of relating to myself. The old ways feel more familiar until you've repeated and done enough repetition of the new ways. And how do we do enough repetition of the new ways? Well, this exact moment of me saying, oh, I'm not going to go down that road, because I could feel it. I was like, this doesn't feel like me. What's happening? And I got back to me. And when I got still with myself yesterday morning, because all weekend I had been breathing and nothing was shifting. So it's like I was breathing deeply, but nothing was shifting. But when I got really still with myself and I felt this heaviness in my chest, and I journaled, I wrote a letter to little me. I was like, I know all of this magic feels so fucking scary. I get it, but you are safe. You are safe to receive it. You are safe to experience it. You are safe to allow yourself to grow. And I started crying and I chanted and I breathed and I just got so still. Like, just stillness is always the answer. And I felt so much of that fear that had been stuck on my chest all weekend soften and release. And I finally felt back to myself because I actually felt my authentic emotion. And that's the thing, is when we're running away from our emotions, we're going to feel disconnected from ourselves. When we're not getting still, we're going to feel disconnected from ourselves. And then we're going to start blending in with everything around us and we're not going to feel connected. So after sitting with a lot of that fear yesterday, I was like, I get to relate to this expansion differently, so that by repeating that new way of relating, of showing myself I am safe, everything is actually great. Like, it's not even like I'm not unsafe. Like, it's not only that I'm safe, it's that everything is fucking amazing right now. I'm feeling the most safe in my own relationship than I ever have before. like in the relationship with myself, feeling more connected to my authentic self than I ever have before. I have sold out a program for the first time in 3 years of business. I've never sold out a program that quickly. I am writing this book and it's coming to life and it's all happening and money's coming in. I'm signing new clients. Like I'm shedding this excess weight. I'm learning how to cycle sync. I'm eating meat again. I'm drinking bone broth, hot cocoa. Like who the fuck am I? Like I am literally becoming the person that I've always wanted to be. And that is so fucking beautiful. And it's new. I've never been this version. This version has always been a dream. This version has always been fantasy. This version has always been put on a pedestal, disconnecting me from the reality of the present moment. And now it's become my reality. And so it's going to feel new and scary to the nervous system until you repeat it enough times where the new way of relating feels more familiar than the old way. So just like you don't have to think about having anxious thoughts or fantasizing or obsessing or ruminating because it's so normal, right? It's the same thing with this. Oh, instead of staying stuck in my head, let me get still and actually breathe in my body. That is then going to become your new norm. And it actually has been my new norm in like, yes, I still get caught up in the rumination sometimes, but it's so cool to notice that after I got still with myself, those ruminating thoughts literally didn't exist. And it was almost like my brain was trying to go back to the rumination because, again, that's what feels familiar. But to then be like, oh, wait, I don't need to ruminate anymore because I moved through the fear. And that's all rumination is. It's an avoidance of feeling fear. So then when you feel the fear, there's no rumination. And then your mind just gets quiet and you then just are able to be present. And it's so much more enjoyable. So that was the before and after. The before was like figuring out, why am I scared? Why am I scared? And the after was just feeling the fear, not having to analyze it and just being like, oh yeah, my body's just scared. I'm having really big momentum and it feels scary and it's all okay. It's okay that that feels scary. I can show my nervous system that I'm safe to experience it. So you have to repeat. Remember, nervous system is all about repetition. If you want to rewire the old, you've repeated those old ways a million times without even trying. Now you're going to have to consciously repeat the new way over and over and over and over and over. And it might feel exhausting at first until it becomes your new norm. And then you will be blown away by how you don't even have to try anymore because it's just your new norm. So if I were to boil this training down in 3 steps, first step is get to know your warning signs that you are about to self-sabotage. Write out all of it. So mine would be dating apps, distracting myself with men, food, and money, and screens. Men, food, money, and screens. Those are like my 4 ways of avoiding myself. So write out all your ways of avoiding yourself: fantasizing, obsessing, ruminating, watching TV, staying busy, overbooking your calendar, whatever it is, overworking, overexercising, just avoiding stillness, whatever it is, write it down so that you have those warning signs. That's step 1. Then next time those warning signs come up, you stop engaging with them, you get still and you say, what is happening in my body? And you get really still. What am I actually afraid of? And then instead of engaging in that, you feel the fear, and that's how you relate differently. And my new favorite thing, both personally and what I had my client do yesterday, was we write down these reminders on the mirror so that when we look at the mirror, they're right in our face. Don't do dumb shit. Stay connected, stay grounded. My client did ones yesterday that said, slow down. It's all happening for me. Perfect divine timing, because, trusting timing has been a big one for her. So have these reminders in your face every day to remind you of the new way that you want to relate, and then practice that new way. And when you get disconnected from yourself, there might be shame that comes up. I had shame come up of how quickly I disconnected from myself, and also just sadness. Like there was so much sadness around the fact that all these things are amazing things, and yet my body is trying to fuck it all up. Like that makes me so sad and angry. So I felt angry, I felt sad, I felt shame, and I had to be with all of those things. So get to know your signs. Another sign of mine is if I'm not focused on me, I will be waiting for someone's response and I'll be checking my phone. Like, did they respond yet? Because I'm waiting for that external soothing and validation. When I'm connected to me and I don't need that response, I'm not checking. And someone's like, oh, sorry, I didn't respond. And I was like, oh, I don't even notice. That's how I know if I'm connected to me or not. So write out all of your signs, then write out the new ways. So don't do these, and you literally practice doing the new way over and over and over. That's how simple this is. Not easy, but simple. And then write those mirror reminders on your mirror, on your wall, everywhere you can see so that you can just be reminded of that. And then you practice relating differently. And you have to be honest about how you're feeling. Like for me, when I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just excited, I'm like, oh no, I actually feel terrified. And we can gaslight ourselves like, why do you feel terrified? These are all amazing things. Oh, because it's something new. And anything new, the nervous system registers as a threat until it's not foreign anymore. So in order for it to feel safe around it, you have to show it that it's not foreign. How do you show it that it's not foreign? You repeatedly do the new way over and over and over and over and over again until your nervous system learns that it's safe, because nervous system is show, not tell. So you can tell yourself, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. But you have to show yourself you're safe by not giving into the distraction, not giving into the addiction, not giving into the overthinking, and getting still. It may not feel safe to get still. You can titrate the experience. All right, my love bugs, I think that's all I have for you today. Let me know if you have any questions about how to stop self-sabotaging. Again, 3 main steps: get to know your warning signs of the ways in which you avoid yourself right before the self-sabotaging is about to happen. Get to know your intimate, unique cycle. Second step, writing out all the new ways of safety, all the ways that you want to relate differently: getting still, breathing, meditation, journaling, co-regulation, showing up and doing the inspired action even when you're scared, whatever it might be. And then when that fear shows up, relating differently to it and not engaging in the self-sabotaging behaviors. Easier said than done, but again, when you practice, it will become second nature and you will show yourself you're safe to expand more and more and more and more and more. And also looking at, like, what are you afraid is going to happen? If if your business explodes overnight, what are you afraid of? Getting honest about that and looking at that and then challenging those beliefs while also feeling the fear in your body, of course, because we can't bypass that, because the energy in our body creates our mindset. All right, my loves, if you are wanting to dive deeper into all of this, I still have 2 spots left in my program, Authenticity Unleashed. The pre-sale sold out completely, so now it is on sale for $777. Payment plans are available before it goes up to $999. And we start September 27th. I'm going to be recording the modules live starting September, what is that, Tuesday? The Tuesday before the 27th. So it's like the 27th is a Friday. So 26, 25. So the 24th. Module 1 will be live recorded. So if you would like to join just for the actual course and attend the modules live in a private Facebook group, but you don't want to do the 6 weeks of live processing calls, DM me and I will give you a discounted link. So it'll be cheaper. So instead of paying $777, you'll pay just for the course. So DM me for that link. All right. I love you guys so much. And one other reminder, this Thursday, we have our next Beyond Your Wildest Dreams membership call. So if you've been thinking about joining the membership, now would be a great time. So you can join our monthly call, receive hot seat coaching from me, private Q&A, and a very special community of powerful women. All right. Love you guys.